Today we are reacting to Show on Head, the male loneliness epidemic. Now I'll say this, I don't think I believe in the male loneliness epidemic. I don't think men are inherently lonely. Sure, there might be like a set group of men that may feel that way, but I don't think that applies to every man in the world. I mean, some men probably don't care, about being in relationships and whatnot, and some do. So that's just my take on that. It's like I don't inherently believe that this applies to every single man on earth. I don't, I hear this the male loneliness epidemic drawn here and there, but I genuinely don't believe it. So let's find out more about this. Like let's find out more about this topic. Let's see what Shu has to say about this. Let's see if Shu feels the same way or whatnot.
I regret to inform you, the men are not okay. That's right, folks, the men are not okay. The men have no friends, no girlfriend, no college education, no money, are breaking their legs and inserting
This, yo, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe he actually did this. Like, because if you were to have, this is like, I want to say false advertisement, so to speak. Because if he had a kid, his kid wouldn't be, I mean, I guess somewhere in his lineage, maybe his kid can be, but it's just the idea of like, I don't know. I mean, I'll say this: I'm a short guy, so I guess I'm around this height. I don't care. Me personally, I don't care. I don't care. It never really crossed my mind to ever go to this extreme, to ever go break my limbs to get height surgery. I generally don't care. I'm proud of myself. I'm comfortable in my own skin, and that's just me personally. I mean, so it's just the idea of like going to this extreme, which is it's not good for your self-esteem, so to speak. I think it boils down to self-love. You really have to like love yourself, love your skin. But I wouldn't do it. I simply wouldn't do it.
metal rods into their bones to be a few inches taller, and listening to AI Batman help them overcome their pornography.
This is a this is a real thing. Like this is really like people actually Batman telling you to overcome your addiction is like the funniest thing to me because like I didn't think there was, I guess you could say, a market for that. Okay.
Addictions.
You deserve real love.
Turns out the society that was built by and allegedly for men.
I mean, yeah, everyone deserves real love. I mean, I hardly believe that. I believe every single one of us on Earth do deserve real love.
Has indeed let them down. Now you might be thinking, oh look, another boo-hoo poor men video by Shoe on Head. Yes. And if you have a problem with that, tune into literally anything else. Men are in a crisis, and it seems nobody really cares. And the people who do care just seem like the people who want to sell them shit. Not me. I'm different.
Yeah. I think, especially the ones that are so-called trying to help, men, but they're just trying to extract money and resources out of them. They're not trying to help you at all. They just see you as just another pay pig, so to speak.
And boys struggling. And what should we do about it?
A few new studies have come out that have shown that young...
That's a good question. That's a good question to ask. And I think there's a lot of solutions to that question. But let's hear what Shu has to say first before we jump into any conclusions.
Men are more lonely and single than ever before. But it's not just men. The women and children, too. It's predicted 45% of women will be single in...
Yeah, I don't think don't think, yeah, I don't think that's just a man's thing. I think that's everyone. I think everyone feels that way. I don't think it's just men. I think women too. Because, like, I know some women are really trying to look for a husband. Like, I think, like, you know, certain countries, they call them leftover women. This is crazy. I think at a certain age, it's like, you know, some would find you undesirable, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I think it's like, what, after 25, women are considered undesirable, which is crazy because there are ton of beautiful women that past 25, and it's a shame that these women are overlooked. So I think this applies to just not just men, but also women. I think a lot of people are being overlooked and aren't being picked. So, yeah, but for some reason, it's men that are the most loneliest. When I don't think men are the most loneliest, because apparently there's not leftover men, so to speak. So, you ever see those Chinese markets where like people are trying to find husbands and wives? That's kind of like what I'm basing it off on.
Childless by 2030. But according to the media, this is a good thing. The she-economy is booming.
What in the world is a she economy, and why would that be a good thing? Exactly. Like, is there like a equivalent for that for men?
As they say. And meanwhile, men being single is treated like this.
New study explains why some single men are having a hard time finding a new partner.
Some of the music that they listen to speaks very derogatory.
Right.
Yeah, men, stop listening to that derogatory music.
Sure. Let's blame it on the music. Sure. Let's say it's the music. Let's say it's the video games. Let's say it's the TV shows, the movies they watch, the media they consume. Sure.
Music. Then maybe you won't be single. I don't know, I think men and women being single and lonely kind of shows there might be something wrong with society. Perhaps.
Yeah, it's more of a society problem versus the media you consume. I think the biggest problem is like fixing the society we live in, fixing the world we live in. It has nothing to do with the music, the TV shows, the movies, whatever you consume. It's more so society and how society's structured nowadays.
Perhaps we should address this, not just wave it off as empowering or pathetic. According to several different articles, I love how that's my source, I read about it on the internet, research shows that people from individualist countries show a greater sense of loneliness. This is linked to socioeconomic development, increased education, a shift towards white-collar jobs, and urbanization. Japan also has an issue with loneliness. In fact, they have a whole movement of people they call the hikikomori.
Yeah, hikikomoris. What else? Oh, neets. Okay, that's another word. Neets. Hikikomoris, neets. There's actually a good anime. Welcome to the NHK is actually good. Go check out Welcome to the NHK. That's it touches on that hikikomoris and neets, and I think one of the characters, I don't like no. It was the guy with the glasses. I forgot his name. It was the guy with the glasses. I don't know. Was he a hikikomori? I don't, because I mean technically he wasn't. I guess he was, but he wasn't a neat because he was in school. I think he went to animation school or manga school. But he fit kind of the bill of I guess you could say the male loneliness, so to speak. But then at the end of the show, he went back home and found love. So if it could work for him, it could work for anybody. But the main character, yeah, he was definitely hikikomori, and he definitely had you could say male loneliness tendencies. But yeah, definitely check out Welcome to the NHK. If there's any, let me see. There's other animes around based on hikikomoris. I mean, it's a lot. I know there's one with a female protagonist. I think she's a hikikomori. I think that's like the one with the. I forgot the name of it, but it's like she's like in her 30s, and I think she's like I don't think she works. I don't think she has like an actual job. Can't remember. But it's like she's in her 30s and she becomes friends with this one guy who's working. I think he's mixed. I think he's mixed. I don't know. I remember watching it like twice, I believe, but it's been a while. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know if he's like a mixed character or he's just like just a character with blonde hair. Because sometimes some anime characters, if they have like blonde hair, you consider like the foreigner or mixed. So, but he was working, but he wasn't a neat or Hikamari. But I think the female protagonist was a Hikamari, if I miss. Because I don't think she like really left her house. She just stayed home and played like this online game, and that's how they became friends. But that's besides the point. Just just check those two out from the male and female perspective of like Hikamaris.
Did I say that right? I don't care. Basically, postmodern hermits. Mostly young men who completely withdraw from society. So
The thing is this: how do they like make a living exactly? Like, do they just? Because I always want to know, like, how does like a Hikamari actually make a living? Like, is it like family take care of them or something? Because they have to get the money somewhere. You know what I mean? They have to find money somewhere to support themselves. Yeah, I want to know like how do they make a living? I mean, they have to like pay for their rent. They have to like eat and buy these things that like I guess games and manga, whatever they're into. So I just want to know like how does a market like get by exactly?
secluding themselves in their rooms for months and years at a time. In 2010, there was an estimated 700,000 hikikomori in Japan. And today, it's estimated to be
Like how do they know exactly the numbers? Do they like go out and like find these people exactly? Like how would you know if it's like 700? How do they account for that?
about 1.55 million.
That's not good. And I want to know what boosted those numbers exactly. What boosted those numbers? Was it before or after the pandemic? Because I would assume that it to get that high has to do something with the pandemic. And speaking of which, this is not just a man thing. This is also women too. I mean, they're all female hikikomoris. You ever seen that one chick? And her place is trash. Like she lives with roaches and stuff. I forgot her name, but I remember seeing her like a while back, and she's a hikikomori. So I mean, it's not just men; it's also women. There's also female hikikomoris too. But the thing is, what grew that number? Like I want to say it's the pandemic. I feel like the pandemic might had grew that number, like rose that number higher than from 700. My thing is, what makes a female a hikikomori? Like, how does she end up becoming a hikikomori? I mean, I could kind of get men, but women, it's just like, how does she end up bingoing?
And because of things like this, people aren't having babies, so Japan's population has been in a sharp decline since 2011. It's gotten so bad that Japan even produces videos of live-action women staring into the camera to help the
I don't think that is a solution. That's not a solution that could be fixed. I don't think making videos of a guy looking at a woman is gonna help. I think one solution, maybe the winter girlfriend solution, like I said in the past, or maybe guys, paying for a winter girlfriend and using that to build confidence within oneself and like getting experience with learning how to court a woman, and then I guess from there you can adapt and like be able to successfully court a woman. you know, I don't know. I think maybe the government or something needs to do a better job because videos, yeah, that's not it.
Hikikomori learn to cope with eye contact and reintegrate them back into society. So basically,
I don't think that would work. I don't think that's the best way to go about it. I don't think that's gonna get them back into society.
if you want to know America's future, look no further than Japan. A lot of people, including myself, blame this partially on the rise of social media and technology. RIP to the king. Although technology makes things easier, it can also make us more atomized. Why go
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I could see that, and also can radicalize people too, because you can also live in your own echo chamber and believe that what you see on the internet is reality, but really it's not. And that's why I would advocate people to go outside and see the world for what it is. Social media is just one facet of life, and that could be very misconstrued with your own, reality. It's not, social media is, for the most part, is fake. So I don't think you should take everything you see on the internet face value. It's a lot of, especially in the rise of AI. Yeah. So I definitely think social media does play a big role in the way people may feel lonely. And I think with social media, it opened doors that shouldn't have never been opened before. I don't think we're supposed to be in any time frame of human history supposed to be this exposed to a lot of stuff. And yeah, I think too much exposure really can ruin a person.
to the mall when I can just tap, buy a new microphone and have it shipped to me in a day? Why hang out with friends when I can get all my social interaction I need from Twitter and streamers? Why go on dates and bother meeting women when I could just tap, Google big boob and get 2 million results? Or see my high school crush's holes on only.
Yeah, she got a point. She got a point. Because some people would rather pay for stuff than to go out and actually experience life. It's crazy to me to think. I don't think that you should be paying for OF at all. I don't think it's beneficial to you. And you definitely aren't talking to the women you think you're talking to. But, as far as people just would rather stay at home and be on their phones than go out and socialize. Which really humans need physical, we need that physical versus, living in the virtual. We definitely need to be more physical and be out there than cooped up. I don't think we were made to be inside the house and being on our phones. We were made to be out and about.
Fans for only $5. Instant dopamine, instant satisfaction, and hey, who even needs a real.
Yeah, everything is so instant that it just fries your dopamine so much. I think a lot of the stuff that's fry your dopamine, which everyone needs to fix that. You need to rewire their dopamine.
A woman when you could just have an AI girlfriend. We're so fucked. Dating apps really are the great Satan, and I'm convinced they've completely broken men's brains. Women on dating apps are picky. Women in general are picky, and I mean, naturally we are pickier. We're the ones who carry the babies, at least for now. But on dating apps, you have
I've heard about that, but I don't know if we're at that point where it's successful. I've heard about that, but I don't know if we're at that point yet.
I have to admit, it's a little insane. It's safe to say that the commodification of love and the window shopping of dating apps probably has to do a lot with the rise of lonely single men. Men are not just lonely when it comes to dating, they're lonely when it comes to friendship too. According to Vox, Americans are currently in a friendship recession, and men are being hit the hardest. The percentage of men who reported having at least 6 close friendships fell in half since the 90s. 1 in 5 men say they have no close friendships. Looking at all these statistics, the explosion of figures like Andrew Tate is not surprising at all.
I believe being a man is a blessing because it starts so difficult. I believe that every man is born without any value at all. I think that the world's never going to think you're important unless you make yourself important.
And recently, a new study came out about how young men are moving towards the right.
I mean, I kind of agree with Andrew on that. On that aspect, I can agree. And as far as men not having friends, I mean, yeah, making friends as you get older does get, a little harder. Versus when you're in school, it's like easier because you're like around your peers. But as you get older, I mean, it does kind of get a little harder. But I mean, I think in order to do that, I think you just have to put yourself in places where you and that person have shared interests, whether that be friendship or relationship wise. I think mostly what people need to do, it all boils down at the end of the day, go touch grass. That's it. It all boils down at the end of the day is you going outside and touching grass. When you touch grass, you're able to possibly form new relationships with people, whether it be romantic or platonic or friendship wise. I just think people need to put the phone down, put the devices down, and go outside and touch grass and mingle with people. Just go out and just talk to whoever, just say whatever. Well, reasonably, just to say, don't just say anything, just say things in reason. But yeah, I think that's, you know what, I think Nickelodeon was right. I think, at first, as kids, we're like, oh man, why does Nickelodeon want us to go outside? I think Nickelodeon was right on that aspect. I think Nickelodeon was right by pausing our favorite TV shows and making us go outside, even though most of us would just change the channel. But I think they were right for that. I think today in 2026, we just need to go outside. And I think the pandemic made things worse because, like, yeah, it sucked that, it happened, but I think that stunted growth for humans. That stunted growth for both men and women of all ages. Because really and truly, again, I believe we're made to just be out and about and socialize. I genuinely believe that. I don't, I think it's to a point where we just need to be outside more. You need to be outside more. You need to truly take in what God has created for us. Go look, go out, smell the air, smell the flowers, touch the grass, touch the trees. I think that's what everyone needs to do. And go to certain events in your city or the next city or whatever. Join a club or some sort. Go join your local gym's basketball team or something, or go pick up a sport or just try new things. Go outside, try new things, and I think that's how you can make friends. And potentially a love interest. I think that's what people need to do. I think that's like one solution people could do to feel less lonely is go outside, touch the grass. When you touch the grass, life will get a little bit much better. That's just me. That's just the way I see things.
And every other month, we, the liberal, SOCDEM, leftists, whatever you want to call the space online, performs the same song and dance. What's wrong with men? Why is this happening? Why don't we have a leftist Andrew Tate? We need to push men to the left. Andrew Tate rarely, if ever, talks about politics. Andrew Tate
Yeah, I don't think he does. I mean, I don't know about nowadays, but I don't think he mostly is like a political guy.
talks about men, and the left only talks about men when they talk about Andrew Tate. A few months ago, during one of the monthly song and dances, some progressive people I follow made the mistake of addressing men's issues, and the even bigger mistake of pointing their finger at their own spaces.
Okay, the reason young men flock to alt-right MRA movements is because the left gives brain-dead advice to young men. We need to be more compassionate to them for our own sake. Yeah, yeah. I mean, true. True. That's you know, I don't think you should be talking down to young men and men in general. I don't think no one wants to be talked down to.
For not doing enough to address said men's issues.
Recently, there were some statistics by healthcare company Cigna indicating that men are the loneliest generation. And addressing it doesn't mean that you turn your back on
Are they? Like again, are they really? Truly, or I just wonder, like, are they really truly?
issues pertaining to women, but it does mean that we should be focused on what it is in society that is leading to this epidemic, what the left can do to offer solutions, and how we can basically fight back against the more nefarious figures who have filled the void that men are struggling with, people like Jordan Peterson and what have you. Now, recently, Vosh, who's a popular streamer, had tweeted this thread that I
Isn't Vosh that one guy that had horse things on his PC and questionable things? Is he one of those guys? I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's like the guy with the beard, right? And last time I heard about him, he had like questionable things on his PC. So yeah, I mean, would I want to listen to a guy like that? No, no.
think is really, really important to address. He writes, I cannot stress enough how important it is to understand that 12-year-old white boys on Twitch are not being pulled into fascism because of some Machiavellian desire to preserve and expand their privileges. It's because the right talks to them and the left doesn't.
The responses to these tweets and this content were very normal, level-headed, and respectful. Me when I lie. LMAO, cry about it. Boo f***ing who? Oh no, poor widow men having problems. Boo f***ing who? Grow the f*** up then. Have men considered being smarter? I'm enjoying all these sad little moids and their sad.
What in the world is a moid? Is that like something like a void? I mean, I've heard. To this day, I don't even know what are these terms, bro? Yo, I don't. Please go outside. This is what I'm talking about. Stuff like this is what I'm talking about. Stuff like this is the reason why I say people need to go outside and touch the grass. Because what in the world's a moid? I already heard about void. Now we got moids. Why are we making up words? Why are we just making up words? Why are we just making up words that makes no sense at all?
Little tweets about their sad, pathetic lives. Sounds like a personal problem. Is the lack of compassion for men in the room with us right now? Maybe men are just not good people then.
I don't like this. Cause like, why is it the blame on men exactly? Like, as a man, like why are we always getting blamed for stuff? And saying that men are not good people. So I would assume whoever this person said this, it's like, is your father not a good person? Is your grandfather, is your uncle, your cousins, your older brother, little brother, or none of the men in your life good people? You know what I mean? Like, it's just based on generalization. I don't like things being based on generalization.
I'm so fucking tired of people trying to make male loneliness a huge societal problem.
I don't think it's a huge societal problem. Again, I don't necessarily believe in the male loneliness because, like I said, I don't think every man on Earth, on this planet, in this world, are truly there's some men that probably don't care at all, and there's some that probably do care. So I guess this applies to the ones I guess that care enough. But yeah,
Yeah, no, their fifis are not my responsibility, and I shouldn't have to be punished because they can't get their shit together as human beings.
what do you mean punished? How are you being punished? Like, what are you being punished by and of and for? How does this apply? I feel like you're just saying something just to say stuff.
Grow the up. Why are we trying to win these entitled little predators over? The left isn't for them. That's why they go right in the first place. We're all lonely and alienated. It's young men going to the alt-right in droves. The problem isn't our messaging, it's them. It's literally not our problem. Men flock to Andrew Tate not because they're lonely, but because they're bigots. Hope this happens.
Maybe that's the case for some people, but most, you know, probably look up to him for like influence. Just some probably think he's a good role model, but I don't think everyone flocks because they're bigots or anything.
Helps. Nah, it's just misogynists being louder than before and not getting laid. LOL. Cry harder, losers.
There's gotta be a man, right? The crazy thing is half these posts might be actual men who think talking like this is gonna get them, in the pants of someone. Like, you're like what a sellout in a sense to your own gender. You're a sellout to your own gender. You're not a man's man, I guess. That's a thing. But you know what I mean? Like, you trying to talk down to your own gender is kind of crazy, in hopes of getting in the pants of a woman because you think that's gonna win you some brownie points. It's crazy that there are actual men who actually are performative. I think women need to be more aware or more concerned with the performative male than anything. I think the performative male is the worst type of man for a woman because it's just a facade, He's just pretending. Versus a man who's upfront with his actions and his words. Performative male is just so like, wolf in sheep's clothing, so to speak. Yeah, I think women really need to watch out for the performative ones versus men who are more straightforward. At least they're honest with their, words and actions. Whereas the performative, again, he's just a wolf in sheep's clothing.
90% of all homicides recorded worldwide were committed by male perpetrators. We should just get rid of all males, to be honest.
That's crazy. And the fact that you said trans women as they that's I feel okay. Getting rid of all males is insane. But the fact that you mentioned trans women is like you're not an ally to trans people at all, aren't you? Because why would you want to get rid of trans women? You know what I mean? Like it just shows how some people think, how some people really truly think and feel about certain things. Because why would you add this part? You know what I mean? Like why would you add the trans women? Like why I just want to know, like, it just shows how some people truly feel and truly think and what's really on their hearts and minds. It just shows that you're not very inclusive to me. You're not very welcoming, not very open-minded, so to speak.
This includes trans women, as they still retain male violence. By the way, you know the Tumblr feminists who were like, all men are sexist and rapists, male tears, penises are evil, blah 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 back in the day? Well, this is them now. Should've just...
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Shu. But it's just like, yeah, it's just like, yo, are you really for the cause? Are you really an ally for trans people? Are you really like inclusive and open minded like you are, or this is how you really truly feel deep down? You know what I mean? Maybe this is like people's true colors being shown here.
Let me cook back then. Listen up, chuckle. I'm white, socially awkward, autistic, in my 40s, ugly, overweight, crippled, got a weird balding pattern, and have bad skin. You know what I didn't do? Choose to become a fat.
Um, some of these can be worked on. You don't have to be socially awkward. You can definitely work on your social skills. I'm pretty sure you're not that, ugly. I don't really find men attractive, but I guess you're not that overweight. You can go on a diet, you know, do some exercises, workouts. Got a weird body problem, a hair unit, or you know, take a trip to Turkey, I guess, and bad skin. Go see a dermatologist. A lot of these could be crippled. I don't know your condition. I don't know if you're like crutches or wheelchair bound. I don't know, but most of these could be fixed. Most of these can be fixed. I'm not gonna lie.
Because I recognize most of the sort that look like me are the.
I don't know. I don't believe this. I never sat down like, oh my goodness, you know, just, I don't know. This is like some self pity type of stuff. I don't subscribe to self pity or whatever. I don't. I don't take blame on. Yeah, I just. Yeah.
Problem. I may be hideously ugly and pathetic, but at least I'm not a fascist. Thank you.
If that makes you feel better at night, I guess when you wake up in the morning, I guess. I mean, I'm not a fascist either, but it's just like, I guess, man. It just goes to show how you really truly feel about yourself. It just goes to show like you saying all that means you deep down you hate yourself. You truly do hate yourself. You have no self love whatsoever about yourself. You need to get some self love.
Thank you for your input, buddy. You're really helping the situation. The reason young men flock to alt-right MRA movements is because the left gives brain-dead advice to young men. We need to be more compassionate to them, for our own sake. I'm sorry, but how is respect women brain-dead advice?
I don't think respect women is brain dead advice. I think that's just universal. I think that's something that's been should be taught at a young age by your parents. That you should respect women, not just women, but also everyone around you. You should respect everybody. But in this case, respect women. I think that's something that's should be taught at home at a young age. So it's not brain dead advice. I think for the most part, I think a lot of people respect women. I respect women. So I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to cook here or what.
What advice? Don't rape? Don't.
I don't know the statistics for that, but I think everyone knows you shouldn't do that. Again, yeah, there's some bad apples out there, but I know I shouldn't do that. I think every other man knows they shouldn't do that. I think that's universal. Like the same with respect women. I think that's universal. I think it's mostly to do with people's morals. I think that's boils down to people's morals and I guess you could say upbringing and there's some psychopath people. There's some sociopath people out there. Some people just are wired differently and they just do crazy things. I don't think every man on earth is thinking about doing stuff. Again, there's some bad apples. There's some people are just sick and twisted to do that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you should teach your children, especially little boys, you shouldn't do that. And but it's just
Don't be a rapist is bad advice? Help, I have no friends or community. I feel suicidal. Have you considered not raping? Act like a decent
okay. Her saying that, it's like this, right? If a man talks like that, I think the best solution is to reason with him, figure out why he's feeling this, figure out what's causing all this, and giving better solutions. That saying that don't respect women type thing, that how's that helping the solution? How's that helping him in his cause? What does women have to do? What if his problem isn't a woman, bro? You just what is this? What if this man is really going through a lot, and you're saying, "Oh, you need to respect women"? What if his problem isn't about women? How's that helping him? How is that helping him? Next thing you know, we're gonna have it's gonna be on the news. Another tragedy. Come on.
human being, it's not hard, is brain dead advice. Brain dead advice like get consent and don't be a Nazi and women are people. Walking up to men struggling with loneliness and depression like
Kids, don't be racist.
What? How is that being helpful of a man if he's not even that? If he's not even racist, or if he's not even sexist or anything, but he's going through his own struggle, he's battling his own demons, he's fighting his own demons. You say that's not helping him conquer his demons, bro. He's better off not telling nobody because he just gotta dug it out. I guess because like what the. I can't imagine this actually being someone's life right now, that they're like going through it, and someone's gonna be like, "Don't be racist." Well, I'm not like he's. What if he's again? What if he's not? What if he's not even thinking like that? How's that helping him? What they got to do with anything he's going through? Okay, the man probably lost his mom, his dad, lost his job, his car broke down, his girl left him. He's going through so much, and the first thing don't be racist. How?
incredible. Here's my actual advice I would give to my teen boys as a leftist. 1. Always get enthusiastic consent. 2. Save the planet. 3. Don't say that. It's actually kind of
Okay, okay, they sound good. I mean, I get what you're saying. What you're saying sounds good. It sounds, you shouldn't be, you shouldn't be racist. You definitely should, want to save the planet. You should, take care of the planet. And getting consent, yeah, you should always get consent. You should make sure that you and her are both comfortable, especially if she's comfortable. Okay, I'm trying to figure out exactly how. Wait, what this has to do with what does this have to do with the male loneliness exactly? I'm pretty sure this has something to do with male loneliness. I mean, again, these are good things to teach your young boys, teenage boys. But at the same time, what does this have to do with the male struggle?
racist.
The advice is good to teach them, but it doesn't help the solution of male struggling and loneliness.
Like, what the f is this? How does this address men and their issues? It doesn't.
It doesn't. I mean, again, it's good advice so far, but that doesn't help the cause of what we're trying to fix.
Why does their advice always seem to be become a liberal, hey men, here's how to fix all your problems. Agree with me politically. Men flock to the MRA movement because they're the largest beneficiaries of MRA shit. Imagine saying women flock to women's rights activism because they're the biggest beneficiaries of women's rights. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense because like women should flock to women's rights because that's where they belong. You know, like they should be want to be where women are supported and uplifted.
no f***ing shit. Let's be honest. Aside from procreation purposes, men have become obsolete.
Oh my goodness, bro! And this is a man, right? This is what I'm talking about. This is the performative male, the wolf in sheep's clothing. These are the men women need to look out for. You don't need to look out for the no. These are the men women need to truly. This is the type of man women need to look out for. A man like this, the performative male. Talking about some. Let's be honest. Aside procreation purposes, men have become. Buddy's just saying all this. This I know this is Twitter, but he's saying all this, thinking that yeah, me tweeting this gonna hit. This definitely gonna give me all of it. You know what I'm saying? He's thinking he's gonna drown in it. He thinks he's gonna drown in all the but he thinks that this is gonna get him into somebody's pants. This is so performative, bro. Like I hate performative men, bro. I hate men that just try to act like they're better than other men because, like, oh yeah, this is like the equivalent of I'm a like those like how girls be like a, a pick me. Is that the word I'm trying to think of? A pick me. I feel like this is like the male equivalent of a pick me, so to speak. You know how there's like girl pick me's? This is like a man's pick me. I feel like this is like that in that kind of realm. Yeah, it just feels like this is like a pick me, so to speak.
Most women can find other methods of achieving orgasm without a man there. And speaking as a man, most of us are horrid to be around, and I don't blame any.
But he's saying all that, but in his mind's like, yeah. In reality, he's like, yeah, women have other ways to reach, an orgasm without a man there. But but me personally, I know how to do it. I know how to do it. The other guys, they don't know how to do it. I know how to do it. That's what it feels like. That's how I read. That's how I'm interpreting this. And the way he's saying all this is like, yeah, I'm different than them other guys. I'm a different male. I'm a different man. I'm a different guy. I know all about women. I know how to this and that and that and this, so to speak. I just feel like that's what he's trying to say. That's what he's trying to convey. Like, if you read between the lines, like he's some pick me, bro. He's just a performative male just saying stuff because he thinks he's gonna win him some brownie points and hopes of getting somebody's pants.
Woman for just saying, no thanks. Oh my god, dude, this is what every Just Pearly Things tweet looks like to me. Just with the genders swapped. This is pathetic. You know what fixes male loneliness? Jerking off.
So,
Swapped. This is pathetic. You know what fixes.
So, with the realization that slapping human, it before I say whatever, let's just read the tweet. With the realization that slapping human flesh together isn't worth it, it brings disease and unwanted pregnancy. Okay, just use protection. Also, attaching yourself to a mother of your child for the rest of your life. Get it up. gotta be a man. This gotta be a man. This gotta, yo, oh my goodness, bro. Listen, you're projecting. If you want to live your life for the rest of your life gooning, you do that. Okay. If you're a man and you believe this, if you feel so wholeheartedly about this, and you want to live your own life just gooning for the rest of your life, you do that. You goon out. Goon till you can't goon no more. Good for you. But to say to attach yourself to the mother of your child, why wouldn't you want to not be attached to the mother of your child? That's the mother of your child. Especially if that's a woman you love and care about. Why wouldn't you? What is this? Like, is this a narrow pick me? Again, if you want to live your whole life gooning for the rest of your days, cool. Not everyone wants to goon. Not everyone wants to live a life of just gooning. Some people do want to have connections with people. Some people do want to have attachment to the mother of their child. That's projection, my guy. Like if you don't want to do that, cool. You don't have to. It's your free will. It's your choice in life. I'm just saying, you saying that just makes no sense at all, and it's just crazy to me.
This male loneliness? Jerking off. As a man, I'll say this. Sit down, shut up, and beat one out. You'll
Advocating for gooning is I mean, I get that it has its benefits for the most part, but I don't think that every man needs to be doing it. I don't think that it should be a part of your lifestyle. I don't think you should live the rest of your days just gooning. I think most men should not, be a part of, no fap and also do semen retention. But that's a whole different topic for a whole different day. It's just, I just think this is projection. Again, if you want to do that, cool. But from the look of it, you want to sit down, shut up. So okay, that's how you roll. That's how you roll, my guy. I mean, that's how you get it out. That's how you get it. I don't know how we got to this point where now it's like to the point where okay, we just need men to goon. Like it's like okay, men just need a goon. How's that helping? How does gooning solve the problem? I don't think it does. I think it makes you even more lonely than when you like that. It makes you even more lonely. It just makes you even more lonely. Because once that, post clarity hit, you're gonna look in the mirror and you're gonna look at yourself with disgust and guilt. So, how does that benefit somebody?
I'll feel better. I promise. Yeah, guys, just beat one out. Just off. Just watch porn. Batman movie.
Don't forget about the whole Batman thing. But yeah, that doesn't help men, and that just makes them even more lonely. Because again, once that post clarity comes, you're gonna look at yourself in the mirror. And you're gonna look at disgust and guilt. That's not helping you. That's not solving the problem. It makes things worse. It makes it worse.
Very disappointed in all of you. It's so funny how men feel entitled to a girlfriend. No, you sexist.
Feeling entitled to a girlfriend is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I don't think men feel entitled. Oh my goodness. How you feel entitled to, bro? How you think you got here? Like, at some point at time, your mom and dad were boyfriend and girlfriend. I would assume. I would assume whoever wrote this, I'm assuming your mom and dad were boyfriend girlfriend and they were in a loving relationship versus they just got one in and I don't. So it's not. No one feels entitled to a girlfriend. I think every man deep down wants to experience love. They want to be able to yearn for love. They want to be able to showcase their love to their partner. And again, that does not make a person a sexist freak for wanting a girl. When does wanting a girlfriend make you a sexist freak and make you entitled? Doesn't make sense. I can't tell this is a man or a woman, but if you're a guy writing this, bro, cut it out. Stop trying. Just cut it out.
Freak. When one side is like, wanting a girlfriend is sexist entitlement, and the other side is like, here's how to get a girlfriend. I don't know, bro. What happened to males?
I feel the same way, man. I feel the same way as you.
Just kicking the bucket. Now they just come on here and try to make their loneliness and misery into some social justice issue. Oh, trust me, men are still kicking the bucket. And when they're not.
And I don't think nobody should be kicking the bucket. I don't advocate for kicking the bucket. I think everyone has purpose on this earth. I think everyone has meaning. I think everyone's life is meaningful. I don't think nobody should be kicking the bucket.
Giving mind-blowing advice like just to be a liberal, they're outright dismissing men's issues completely. It's not our job to educate them. Since men created the problem, they need to take steps to fix it. We have other things to care about. Men can figure out their own problems that they created. Again, it's not women's jobs to change how men are socialized. It's a man issue and y'all need to address that amongst yourselves. Men created their own problems. Men can solve their own problems. The left is busy. Why does the
What is the left busy with, exactly? What is the left busy with? That's the question I want to ask. What is the left busy with?
well-being of other people concern me? Leftist, by the way. It's all systemic issues and societal factors and blah 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 until it's a man and then suddenly it's pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. This problem is just a consequence of the patriarchy. Now take a wild guess about which gender created the patriarchy. Solve your own problems and leave women alone. These people rightly mock the bootstraps rhetoric until the subject is a man, and then it's bootstraps all the way down. They would never talk about any other group this way. It's wild. And it's kind of like both sides are telling men to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but one is like, I'll show you how, and the other is like, fuck off. And when they're not
Yep. One's going to show you how, one's just doesn't care, you know. They just demand that you do it without giving any type of solution. Doesn't really help the cause.
telling men to straight up fuck off, they're giving the 200 IQ answer that nobody has ever heard before. Just show your emotions, bro. And I'm not dismissing this problem, okay? I've made videos talking about this. Oh, you're crying at your grandfather's funeral? Okay, faggot. And studies
I never understood that. It's like you can't show emotions at a funeral. It's crazy, especially for a loved one. It's like for this case, it's your grandfather. That's the man that was a big part of your life, and I think every man should have a right to shed tears, you know, especially over a loved one. It's just. And just tell a man, hey, you need to stop crying. You need to get over yourself. Would you just want all of us just to bottle our emotions up? No, I don't think. I think every man should have the right to express themselves however way they have fit, as long as it's reasonable.
have shown that men are scared to be vulnerable, even around the homies. And can you blame them when the media says stupid like this? Fellas, is it woke to open up to your fellow men and discuss history? Men are socialized.
That's crazy to think that it's considered woke to be open up with your feelings.
To believe strength, dominance, and stoicism are behaviors of a real man. Is it any surprise that men are lonely and have less friends nowadays? You have to be vulnerable to make friends. Don't tell me there aren't systemic problems affecting men. Now, while a lot of this may be true, men have been socialized this way for centuries, and this is all relatively a new phenomena. Toxic masculinity has existed forever. If anything, there's less toxic masculinity nowadays. The cultural embrace of, like, gender nonconformity, femboys, Harry Styles in a dress, Barbie movie, blah 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 blah. My point is, toxic masculinity did not just appear in the mid-2010s, but social media did, and the internet did, and the rise of dating apps did, and the housing crisis, and living in a country where the wealth inequality is worse than it was during the Gilded Age. That all happened recently. Oh my god, the privileged life these poor little boys must have, that their biggest problem is being lonely, i.e. so insufferable that nobody wants to sleep with them. So much more pressing than the poor distribution of wealth causing people to suffer food and housing insecurity. Boo-hoo, you're lonely and have no friends and are suicidal, wah. Because feeling alienated under capitalism apparently isn't a
Yeah, I mean, most most of this does stem from capitalism. Not gonna lie, like some of the problems is society and how it's structured and how we do live in a capitalist society. So, because it's like you need money to make things happen, and without the money, you can't make things happen. So it does make you feel alienated because like you want to do things, but it's like you don't have the capital to do those things. So now you gotta find a way to get that capital. You know what I mean? And it's like each day it's like just passing you by, you know, so to speak. Like you just feel somewhat worthless in a sense because you're trying so hard to get to that point.
thing. People are working harder and longer while wages have been stagnant. Men have been
Yeah, yeah. Basically, kind of what I'm saying is like, he's like, up. I gotta put this in an example. It's like you see that girl you want, but then your mind's like, oh man, I can't do that. Do the things I want to do because like I'm not where I'll need to be. You know, I need to grind, keep grinding, and then maybe one day she'll be with me or something. I think that's how most men see things and how most men perceive things because like they think that they need to feel somewhat successful in order to get the girl and stuff. You know, they need to prove themselves more worthy, and I think that drives, you know, most men kind of lonely because like you're just doing things on your own versus seeking out valuable relationships with people. Like you ready to shut out the world than, you know, being a part of someone else's world, so to speak. I think that most men do that. You know, most men feel that way. They'd rather grind versus trying to build many relationships, even if, you know, they have no motion, so to speak. You know, they have slow motion. You know, slow motion is better than no motion, like they say. But yeah, I think that's how some men are wired or do things. Like they're so fixated with grinding and they don't see the bigger picture of things.
dropping out of college like flies, and what does that get you? Poor men. Which, since women are doing amazing in college now, and many are now out-earning men, this most of the time leads to single men, which then leads to lonely men, which leads to depressed men, which leads to the high suicide rate. In my opinion, leftism at a policy level does a great job addressing the shitty material conditions that in part lead to the problems that men are facing, but then absolutely drops the ball when it comes to everything and anything related to men's cultural issues. Many such cases. And why would a struggling man even want to move left when the left appears actively hostile to them?
The question of whether or not the hashtag online left does enough to appeal to hashtag men has become the question du jour. And like, men have most of the money, authority, and do most of the murdering and assaulting.
The average young man in America isn't Jeff Bezos. Also, why did this motherfucker just FBI crime statistics at me? Men do the most murder.
Okay. But who's goodness to say that men are very violent? I don't think men are violent. I don't like I said there's a few bad apples. I think there's like a few people that are not right in the head, but I don't think that applies to everybody.
Okay?
They like having all of the stuff they don't deserve. They like that. They want it to stay.
I just really, oh my goodness, this is another performative male. Oh, buddy, you saying all this is not gonna get you in somebody's pants. You're just being a pick me sellout. Like, who are you making this for exactly? What are you saying this for? You really think this is gonna like get you some brownie points? Like, it's not. It's not gonna get you no brownie points at all. It's not gonna get you in nobody's pants. These are the type of men I'm saying that women need. These are the men that women really need to watch out for. These are the type of men women truly need to watch out for. The performative pick me sellout. These are the men that I find more could be dangerous because they just say all these things, but deep down they are probably the most misogynist than an actual you would think as a misogynist. Like I think these guys are probably more misogynist than what people would assume is the average misogynist.
That way because it suits them. Because of the stuff, telling people they're special and deserve all the nice shit that they have, that's going to be an easier sell 10 times out of 10 than like saying, hey, maybe you should have less stuff and other people should have more.
Leftism is when you don't have a lot of stuff. We're gonna take your stuff. You sound like a 65-year-old Fox News boomer's idea of what the left is. Are you
True. Yep.
a CIA agent? The right is saying to men, you will own a house. You will have beautiful children with your loving wife. You will have privacy. You will have free speech. You will own things, and you will be happy. And the left is like,
They like having all of the stuff they don't deserve.
You will eat the bugs and you'll own nothing. Basically, it's like the opposite is you'll eat the bugs and you'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
but don't get me wrong, Republicans will not do shit. The Republican Party will not do shit. The establishment in general will not do shit to help any of this. But the right
Nope. I don't think any political party will do anything really. I think as we stand now, I don't think even the Democratic Party would probably won't do anything. I think the only way they can is if you elect better, politicians that have that truly deep down have all our best interests. Then maybe we could see a change. But I just don't think neither party is doing a thing at all.
is, at least rhetorically, offering men something other than nothing or the eternal HR department. Every time this Discord comes up, there's people like, we need a leftist Andrew Tate. We need masculine role models on the left. But the fact is, it's hard for progressives to organically appeal to men, because a large part of progressivism is oppressive hierarchies, and men are oppressors. Making progressivism look appealing to young men is an uphill battle from the start. And although it's funny to laugh at insane people on Twitter, as always, there have been a lot of left-wing content creators talking about men's issues. If you would have told me this would be a thing 9 years ago, I would not believe you, because anyone talking about men's issues back in the day was called an MRA or a pick-me. But lately I have seen a lot of good pro-men lefty content, and I'll put some links to some below. I don't agree with all the points they say, but I recommend watching. It's much better than...
They like having all of the stuff they don't deserve.
But the issue is a lot of this lefty pro-men content
I'm sorry, that just sounds so crazy when he says it like that. They just like all the stuff that they don't deserve. What does that even mean? Like, what is she trying to say exactly? Because what you mean? I think everyone deserves stuff. I think everyone, no matter if you're man or woman, I think everyone deserves stuff. But this is just insane and crazy to me. This is hilarious, though. This is genuinely hilarious to me.
Content, it's always framed around how do we get them? As if men are just pawns and tools for your personal politics. How do we make the left more appealing to men? How do we stop lonely men from moving to Andrew Tate? Instead of just, how do we help men? And I think that's a
True. Instead of saying how do we get them, it's more so how do we come up with solutions for these men? How do we help these men and fix the problems that they face in society? Like how can we reframe society as a whole for everybody, and that everyone can live in perfect harmony.
really big issue. Both sides seem to treat men as political fodder, disposable soldiers in the culture war and real war. Anyway, misandry is real. Oh good, finally! And while it doesn't systemically affect cis men, it most certainly affects trans men. Oh, y'all talking about misandry doesn't harm men, and trans men are right there reading this shit, by the way.
Like I said, are people really open-minded and like inclusive as they think they are, or is this just showing people's true colors and how they truly feel about people in the world? Because by way of doing seeing things, this doesn't apply to like cis men. This also applies to trans men as well. What about the trans men? Are they less than? Do they not deserve stuff? What about them? What about their needs and wants and how they play a role in society? Are we going to dismiss them as well, or are they, lump point all the other men? Something to think about. Something to think about. It's also something to think about. Just not just trans men, but also just trans people in general. Because at some point, we gotta think about that.
I see, now we only care about misandry because it affects trans men. Everyone stop! It's affecting a group I care about now. I love how the rhetoric just
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. It's like,
evolved overnight from male tears to cis male tears. And I just have to ask, why aren't you including trans men in your misandry,
that's a good question. That is a good question. Are they not viewed as men? Or are they not categorized as men? Something to think about. This is something to think about. Where do trans people fit in all this? Again, are people not open-minded? Or people not inclusive? Like they say they are?
Nobody told me how lonely being a man is. We knew what depth felt like before we transitioned. We knew what it felt like to have people want to hug us and to have people want to talk to us and to have a community. And then you transition and you're just a guy walking down the street that people cross the street so that they're not near you.
I mean, that's on average how every man lives his life. Now you understand. Now you know what it feels like to be on the other side. Now, you definitely now you got another perspective on your belt. I don't, for better or for worse, I guess, so to speak. But you start to kind of understand the real issues, not these fabricated issues that people think the real world issues.
And friendships are so much harder to build. What's hard is none of this invalidates how real and raw women and people who are in marginalized groups feel about cis white men. All of that's valid. But I also now understand why the suicide rate is so much higher in men.
Welcome to being a man. Here's your complimentary isolation and yellow pillow.
Yellow pill is great. But yeah, now you're living in a man's world. You're living in a man's world. Like the great James Brown once sang, "It's a man's world, and you're living in it now." Well, he didn't say that part, but it's a man's world.
I love how even when he's experiencing the issues of being a man, he's like, this doesn't invalidate people hating men. Come on, bro. Men struggling don't want to be
It does. It doesn't. It is. It does. You know it does. Just come on, and just say it does, because it does.
lectured about the patriarchy. They don't want to be told it's all their fault. They don't want to be told they're part of the problem because, first of all, they're not. The average 20-year-old didn't build society. They go to work, come home, off to sissy hypno fetish porn, and go.
Yo, that last one was like.
off to sissy hypno fetish porn.
I don't know what that is exactly. I guess that's something somebody out there watches. But for the most part, yeah, most people, most guys are just living their day. Just, I guess not. Maybe there's some doing that, but for the most part, just go home. Go to work, go home, relax. Or some, go to school, go work, home, you just day to day, just go about their day. It's like, not every man's thinking about being misogynistic or sexist, well, misogynist would be sexist, racist or whatever. Most men are just trying to get day by day. Most men are not thinking of harming anybody or whatever. So I don't know where people think that everyone's living like they think they're living, but really they're not.
And go to bed like everyone else. I've talked about this before, but a lot of men's value comes from the money they make, unfortunately. Men are natural providers, and if they have nobody to provide for, they get into findom or send random girls on the.
Yeah, you should not be. That is the most craziest thing to ever do as a man, like falling into that. Like, I get where she was saying, it's like, okay, we're natural providers, so if we don't know what to provide for, most, I guess, guys will fall into that trap, which you shouldn't fall into that trap. You shouldn't. Those women don't deserve that. Okay, they don't deserve that. They. I'm sorry. What do they do for you exactly for them to actually deserve you doing that? They don't. They've done nothing. They have not given you any type of value at all. So I don't think you should. You should only do that if someone's giving you value. I really believe that it's an equal exchange where you're getting something out of it, so to speak. But yeah, like I said, I think that being a provider is tied to how should I say this? It's tied to your purpose. I think every man is inherently a provider, and when he doesn't fulfill that role, it can, make you feel like you lost a part of yourself, lost a part of your purpose.
Internet money. I'm just kidding. But the fact is, a lot of men simply feel like they don't have a purpose anymore. Whether a job or a career that's fulfilling and pays well, or a woman or family to protect and take care of and provide for, men are lacking purpose. And a man will.
Yeah, I think that's it boils down to that. I think most men are trying to find their way in life. They're trying to they're I think a lot of men are trying to do deep down soul searching of who they are in the world, in society, and to themselves. I think a lot of men are trying to prove to themselves and prove to the world, who they are. And a lot of times it can be troublesome. It can be troublesome of you going through this soul's journey, this hero's journey. It's like a lonely path, but I think it doesn't have to be lonely. You can ask for help. You can get the help you need along the way. You know, so yeah, I think a lot of men are just trying to find their way in this world, and it's a little difficult, but it gets better day by day. I believe. I think it does get better.
Crawl through broken glass for a purpose. But you know who does make them feel like they have a purpose? No, not him.
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult.
I mean, honestly, Jesus does give you purpose. Honestly, I believe, reading your Bible and praying is good for you. I think before you go and listen to Andrew Tate or listen to any guy on the internet, I think you need to sit down. Maybe go outside. I think going outside in nature, touch the grass, sit down, and coming to a moment with God. I think you need to lay it out with God first. I think before you go to anyone in this world, I think the number one person is talking with God. I think you going to God and explain everything going to around your life is more beneficial and more helpful than any person on earth could do for you. I think God will give you the answers that you need. Me personally, I wholeheartedly believe that you talking with God will feel a whole lot better. You'll feel a whole lot better. You'll find clarity and find meaning and find answers you're seeking. Me personally.
I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you.
The absolute audacity to act.
I mean, Andrew Tate's right in a sense. I mean, as a man, you have to create your own value. And I think that's something that I'm trying to do, especially with my YouTube channel, is I am trying to create value within myself, create my own purpose in life. I don't, I'm not part of this male loneliness or anything. I don't necessarily feel, that sense or anything, but I do am trying to seek purpose. All my for the most part, ever since high school, I've been trying to find purpose and meaning in my own life and trying to figure out who I am as a person so I can relate to that aspect. And that's what led me to create my own YouTube channel and wanting to create videos and stream. It's because I feel by me doing this, I'm fulfilling something in my life. I'm filling some void, so to speak. I'm doing something meaningful. Something that I can essentially call my own. Something that I can look back and say, I did it. I made a way. I think that's what every man feels. They just want to make a way and say that, hey, I did it, and be proud of it. Like I'm proud of myself. I've been very consistent since January. I started doing this since January, so I never gave up. I never stopped. I never quit. And I think that's what a lot of guys need to feel. I think they need to find purpose. They need to find a path that they can unlock. And I think the number one thing you can do is definitely talk to God about it. Like I think you talking to God and laying it out for God to handle, and by you praying will open up clarity within your life. You'll soon find the solutions and answers better than no man on earth can. But it's just something I want to say. I just feel that there's some things I can relate to. I can relate to wanting to find purpose. Which I'm still to this day trying to understand myself in this world, and understand my position in this world, and understand who I am as a man, and just like still going down this hero's journey that a lot of us face, a lot of us go through. But so far, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of what I've accomplished these last couple months. I have like what last time I checked, I have like 123 subscribers, and yeah, I mean it's a small number, but I made something. I did the thing that I seeked out to do, and I'm proud of myself. I think you know it's a small win. I think a lot of us just need to look at the small wins compared to the big wins. Because the small wins mean a lot too. They mean a lot too.
Shocked that Andrew Tate is scooping these guys up after a decade of lol male tears is insane. Andrew Tate isn't the solution to men's problems, but he
Yeah, I don't think he's the solution. I don't. I really don't think. But some of the things he says, I mean, throughout this video, I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with some of the stuff. Not everything he says I don't agree, but some things.
is talking to them. The fact is, you did not care about them for years, and even now you just want to recruit them, not help them. And that's what
Yeah, I think talking to them and reasoning with people and being on people's level and showing them a way is more beneficial than talking down to them or trying to recruit them. Like, okay, for example, my last video was on love theory, and I read the first chapter. I was, trying to explain that I think the manga love theory is very beneficial in today's time and climate, because I know a lot of guys fall into this black pill doomerism, and I don't want young men to fall into the black pill and doomerism. So that's the reason why it's always been on my heart to read that manga, and I do want to try to continue reading it, because I want to show young men that it's possible. You're going to get your happy ending, so to speak. You can't overcome things, especially if it comes to relationships and dating. And I think I recommend the manga. It's like I said. I think it's unfortunate that there's not an anime adaptation, but I want to somehow continue reading the manga and like showcasing, the chapters in the story and how it unfolds. Yeah.
you will fail. And hey, maybe I'll be the Andrew Tate of the left. Men, listen up. Wash your penis. So I guess I'll leave you guys with a question.
Yeah, you should do that. You should do that. You should definitely do that. But yeah, like I was saying about the whole love theory, I think that's a really good manga. I really think so. I think that there's a lot of lessons you can learn from. There's like a lot of lessons you can learn from, and that's me showing that manga, because I don't know if anyone who's ever read it. Probably the only one. I read it multiple times, but I just think that it has like a lot of lessons you can learn from, especially when it comes to women and dating and relationships.
Why do you think male loneliness has been increasing? What are your solutions for this problem? And are you dealing with loneliness? And I will see you guys next time with a
and that was the male loneliness epidemic by Schoenhead. I'll say this. I mean, I think there are a lot of solutions. If I could say one thing, is talking with men and understanding men versus trying to, recruit them or talk down to them. I think men need to be talked to. You need to like understand what's going on in their lives, understand how you can figure out whatever. Because I don't think every man's the same. Not every man's the same. Every man probably has dealing with different things. So whatever the things that they're dealing with, I think it's best that you, find a way that can better them. Once you better them, it betters society, so to speak. I think that's the main takeaway from this is really getting on the level of these men and truly being as relatable to them, so to speak, is what can fix the problem. I, you know, I can't think of like one solution exactly, but I think, well, I'll say this. I think most things could be fixed by just going outside. I think going outside is good for your mental and physical health. And you finding new interests and new hobbies will definitely help you in the long run. Because that way you can be around people that are like minded and possibly you can find love, do it all. So that's like one solution, just go outside, touch grass. Another solution can also be have the same issues. So it's depending on what the issue may be. Maybe fixing employment, fixing the employment rate is one way, is one thing, making sure that young men are trained and skilled can, get into the workforce is one way. But let me know your solutions. Let me know your thoughts about this topic. Let me know what you think it can help men out, help the quote unquote male loneliness. Again, I don't necessarily think there's male loneliness. I don't think every man feels that way, so to speak. I think that's just something that's put on men because there are some misandrists in the world, and there are some pick me males out there. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you believe there's any solution, if you could come up with some solutions. Right now, I can't think of everything off the top of my head, so to speak. But I know there's like different ways. I think most I mean, it's not even just a man's thing. I think it's just all everybody's thing. I think everyone is. I feel like everyone's too tense nowadays, and they just need to kind of let loose, so to speak. I think we need to get back. I think we need to fix the order, so to speak. I think we really truly need to fix the order of things. But again, if let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel about this topic. Like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.